previous life, after my parents divorced, Mom left with nothing, taking me along. My brother, who stayed with our wealthy dad, constantly mocked Mom and me for being poor, saying we were worse than beggars, but karma came full circle. After Dad went bankrupt, he and my brother ended up homeless on the streets. Meanwhile, Mom married a billionaire and started a new life with me. Jealous of my good fortune, my brother pushed me off the 18th floor in a fit of rage. When I opened my eyes again, my brother and I had somehow returned to the day our parents divorced. This time, my brother got smart and immediately clung to Mom, refusing to let go. I want to go with Mom. He thought he'd finally picked the winning side, his face full of smugness inside. I was bursting with joy. Finally, it would be my brother's turn to suffer through those suffocating hard times. When Mom heard that Larry also wanted to come with her, she was so moved she nearly cried, but Dad frowned, reluctantly saying, "Larry, your mom is useless. You'll definitely suffer if you go with her." Though Mom was usually stubborn, she sighed and nodded reluctantly. "Larry, you should stay with Dad. I don't want you to suffer with me. Your sister can handle hardship, so let her come with me." I let out a cold laugh, feeling a bitter pang in my heart. As expected, no one cared about what I wanted. Listen to Dad and go with him. Dad has money. You can have whatever you want. Let your sister deal with the hardship. Having lived through the previous life, Larry knew Dad would go bankrupt, so naturally he wouldn't choose him again. He held onto Mom's arm tightly. "I've already decided. I am going with Mom." Despite the pressure, Larry still left with Mom, who walked away with nothing. Before leaving, he said provocatively, "Mia, you just wait and enjoy the good life with Dad." I waved back at him, suppressing my laughter, secretly delighted. My foolish brother Larry had no idea what he was about to face. In my previous life, after leaving with Mom, I lived miserably. Mom was lazy by nature, accustomed to the life of a housewife, completely unable to support herself. Back then, I not only had to go to school, but also work to make ends meet. I only slept 3 hours a day. The rest of the time I was either at school or working, delivering food, cleaning, washing dishes. There wasn't a single dirty or exhausting job I hadn't done. Mom still wasn't satisfied. "You money, losing burden. You barely earn enough to buy me a pair of shoes. You might as well find a rich man to marry." She either hit me or yelled at me, treating me like a servant rather than a daughter. Later, when she married a wealthy man, my life improved slightly. I thought my suffering was finally over, but I fell into an even deeper abyss. Dad was upset about not getting Larry, and took all his anger out on me. "From now on, you better behave yourself. If you dare upset Kathy, I'll break your legs. When you get to Kathy's house, remember your place. You are living under someone else's roof, not some princess." Dad's attitude toward Larry and me was like night and day. When he looked at me, there was only disgust, as if I were nothing but dead weight. The car pulled into Kathy Anderson's estate, and I was stunned by the mansion. I never expected Dad to find such a wealthy woman. Watching Dad carefully try to please Kathy, I understood that here, Kathy was the head of the household. Kathy stood at the entrance, her eyes twinkling with amusement as she waved at me. "You must be Mia. You are really beautiful." She reached out to pat my head, and I instinctively flinched, trying to dodge. In my previous life, every time Mom raised her hand, it was to hit me. "Stupid girl, what are you dodging for? Nobody's going to eat you." Dad shot me a glare before turning to Kathy with a smile, reaching for her hand. The moment they touched, Kathy suddenly pulled back. That is when I noticed the tape wrapped around her hand. A violin sat in the corner of the living room. "Are you learning violin?" "Yes, I recently enrolled in a class." What a coincidence. I had also learned violin as a child when I lived with my grandmother. I picked up the violin, casually flipped through the sheet music, and began to play. Dad tried to stop me, but Kathy held him back. I was rusty from not practicing for so long. When I finished the piece, I saw appreciation in Kathy's eyes, and knew I'd done the right thing.